Hello and welcome back to the Thunder Cup. This, of course, is the finals, day 3. The last and final day for the teams to show up and show us what they've got. You're here with me, DK, and of course, accompanying me is the ever-lovely HighlandWolf. How are you doing today, bud?
I'm doing good. Of course, it's the final day of the Thunder Cup, and of course, it is no less than the 1,500 prize pool these teams are going to be fighting for. We had an absolutely smackaroni of a day yesterday, DK, and I am expecting more upsets. I'm expecting more exciting thrills and action when it comes to today's final.
Of course, it is going to be pretty exciting, and we're looking forward to seeing what the teams will bring in. Of course, we had a pretty spicy day. Just looking at the matches that we've had, and of course we did see the standings of where the teams currently are positioned, and I gotta say it is looking pretty tight with the Vampire Esports team already bringing home those 2 chicken dinners. But of course we also can't forget about Esports Empire. They were just stepping it up in yesterday's matches, also bringing home 2 chicken dinners. We do see both these teams, of course, sitting on either side of that leaderboard. Vampire Esports up in pole position and Esports Empire sitting over in that 9th position. But I'm curious to see what the teams will bring in today and whether or not we're going to be seeing yet another aggressive push coming in from the Esports Empire team.
Indeed, Esports Empire, they were the ones that really created that upset, coming down from what was 1 point after the first day, DK, coming into the second day, game 3, game 4, big chicken dinner wins, 7-11 kills respectively. But not just them, also some more teams that we should be looking at here are also FaZe and Orange. Both FaZe, Orange, FaZe, yes, FaZe taking 1 chicken dinner, Orange as well taking a plethora of kills and a multitude of their games. So actually, Orange, the biggest surprise, I would say, when it comes to them climbing from 11th position back all the way up to 5th position, despite how big a gap it was in the top end of that leaderboard starting in the second day.
Well, of course, it is going to be exciting to see what the teams bring as we now have a look at our flight path there, of course, coming in from that Sosnovka Island, making its way all the way up over towards Savoni. So a fairly decent flight path to start the day off, of course, cutting straight through that middle section of the map, opening up the potential for the teams, those drop spots for them to move up into. And this is where I'm expecting to see a few potential hot drops, as we had quite a bit of that yesterday as well.
Indeed, and when we talk about those hot drops, DK, Yasnai Polyana, that was one of the top drops of the day. And of course, even that, but also Savnovka military base, that too, we can see that already starting off in the first day. Once again, the side of Infinity joined now also up by Team I8. Now, Team I8, they're already a member down in the first few minutes. Yes, they suffered a knock, should be able to revive that one, but Infinity, they also showed a lot of aggression when it came to also taking those knocks in that South Island yesterday. But also Infinity, they have been making mistakes, and that is why when we see them over pushing their aggression, they've been put in that 10th position on the leaderboard, DK. They looked like, of course, starting in this tournament, that they would be one of the best, that they would dominate over the rest of these teams, but that hasn't been the case, and that also has been a big shocker.
Yeah, of course, we're expecting to see several more shockers in the games coming in today. But now we look to see what the players here from I8 will bring, as they are now looking to get that res in, as you've mentioned. But of course, already putting them on a slight bit of a back foot, already having a slight decrease in the health bars, applying that extra additional layer of pressure. But already now, the rushes are coming through, as we can see Cryopod now just getting knocked right on down. And this is where the pressure just keeps on mounting, as the team here, of course, from the Infinity are not wasting any time. They are pushing up full aggression.
Crypto, unfortunately, as well, going to be first out completely from the game. Bosom as well should be next. Now just Refuse Blade remaining for the side of Team I8, and it's just not the start they wished. And look where actually Refuse even is on that map, DK, not even with their teammates. So you've got to imagine Blade on their own will be left for dead. Refuse maybe going to try help him if they can, if not rotate through into the main island, because that zone also, as you can see, has moved to similarly what we had in day 2, down towards that southeast. So yes, there's also that option that it could still move towards the very South Island itself, itself. But for the most part, you can assume that teams will be prepping, particularly around that farm area, heading up towards, I would argue, around that island area, specifically where ZEUS are currently situated right now on the map. That was where we saw a lot of that contention happening in the previous days' games, and particularly where we saw that coming from DRS and their motivation when it comes to taking out teams on the road down into that main portion of the zone.
And of course, we've got some action now starting to unfold up in towards the north there, as well as we see the team now here, of course, looking to apply the pressure. This being the team coming in, of course, from the ever lovely team there of the Esports Empire, who we're waiting to see what they'll bring in today's lineup going into this fight up against the team there from Hail Esports. So again, quite a bit of contention coming in as the teams are looking to apply the pressure. Esports Empire holding strong, but of course, all their players really positioned very close together, and a few well-placed nades can cause quite a bit of damage.
Hail, the most consistent team when it comes to placement points after 8 games so far today, DK, and they have been sitting so dominant in the top end of that leaderboard. Still second place after day 1, second place after day 2. Esports Empire, though, they have found one initial knock, so it is going to be a little bit of a suffrage for the side of Hail for now, but can Esports Empire turn out into something more?
Oh, I don't know. It is going to be quite a bit of a challenge, but we can see, of course, now that kill feed is starting to light up as the players there from I8 are looking to apply the pressure once again. As we jump over into that, you can see Blade now being the last remaining hopeful, but up comes the team from the Infinity, putting a very abrupt end there to them. And what a beautiful way to get the day started. But of course, now looking up into the zone, we see a lot of teams just moving closer and closer to that more centralized position. So we're expecting quite a bit of chaos and, of course, aggression to come in with the teams being so close. But now, back up in Savoni, things are in a little bit of a standoff at the moment.
Indeed, I think when you look towards that South Island, though, DK, you've got to imagine Refuse, they shouldn't have gone for that revive back onto Blade. They should have gone back through the Western Bridge. There was open space in to do so, with the phase 1 being as it is, and then move into the play area later on as a solo player. Hope to get those placement points. Small mistakes like that, they're going to cost Team I8. They're going to fall down further on that leaderboard. Fortunately for them, starting off today in 14th position, not where they want to be, but they're only going to have to wait to game 2 to increase that position in the leaderboards. It will drop down further, you do have to imagine. Hail, as you said, they are standing in what is a standoff between them and Esports Empire. Esports Empire, they are known to do this, though, DK. You saw them back in their second game yesterday. They stood against a team, I do believe it was Alter Ego LIMAX, in down towards the main portion of this zone as well yesterday, and actually for about 5 zones they didn't move. Neither did Alter Ego, and eventually both of them got eliminated. So I would like to see a little bit of movement coming from them, even if it is a form of retreat. That blue zone is starting to close in. Phase 2 will be upon us, and if it is going to be potentially a southern shift down towards that South Island itself, that's really going to hurt Esports Empire by wasting this time.
Yeah, no, got to agree with you on that. We like to see the aggression, the teams not holding back, cleaning up the area, and then moving back up into the next phase. So this is quite a bit of a delay coming in for both the teams, of course, now involved in this engagement over here in Savoni. And we're looking to see whether or not Hail will be able to push. I mean, they have been reduced to a 3-man team, but we do have the players there from Esports Empire. They've been showing a pretty good amount of play, but starting off today, this is a little bit of a passive approach.
Eden, I want to talk back towards this map as well, DK, while these teams do wait, because when you look at the positions of these teams over on the map itself, 2 things look out to me. Now, personally, first of all, you've got to look at Alter Ego in their position over farm. Not usually where Alter Ego do actually land here, DK. They have changed it up. They usually would drop towards the shelter side. They have been also known for dropping over in Kameshki and then rotating back down in towards the main portion. So a different route for them is going to be now also them up against the likes of Galaxy Racers. Galaxy Racers also looking hungry for some points, struggling on that leaderboard. ZEUS, I see as well, a rogue player that could come in as a third party to stop them. I would also argue the other point on this map is actually the position of Infinity. Now, how Infinity how are they going to look to defend this? Because if we do see a southern shift, what do Infinity choose to go for? Do they decide to drop onto a bridge? Do they decide to gatekeep? Or do they hold on to Sovnovka? Personally, for me, I would actually argue it going towards that eastern bridge, maybe looting around Novo could be the better option here. Of course, mountain towards the south side could be good for them to do so.
Yeah, well, another good play coming in here, of course, is the players here from BANGKRIK. As we can see, Gandhi now applying the pressure, the aggression straight onto the Galaxy Racers. They were rotating right past, and of course, we see two of the players facing a little bit of a challenge here, but the rest of the team, of course, being able to escape the onslaught for the time being. Now we look to see what the rest of the lobby will bring us. The teams are, again, looking to converge even further in. We're about to see where our next phase is going to be going, and it takes us all the way over towards that eastern side, continuing on its trend there, changing it up from the south, just heading a slight bit further. Now we look to see, of course, how the teams are going to look to rotate through this and where they're going to try and take up occupation.
Right away, Infinity, they should be on that vehicle, DK. They should be rotating around that western bridge, around the coastline towards actually BANGKRIK. That would be the best option for them to do so right now. Rotating through the eastern bridge, they should realize that from previous games that BURIRAM will be there to stop them in doing so. It would be only casualties that await them, as of course they did lose one member already. So I would like to see a little bit more haste coming through from them. When you look towards the north side, Esports Empire still over in Severny. Hale, they have rotated all this time now to Rosshawken. They're going to be paying better off. Yes, they lost a member, but they're not going to tank as much blue zone. They're going to have more optimal position over in that second phase zone. They're going to have more information when it comes to entering that zone. Then Esports Empire, yes, they don't have to deal with the problem now, but they're going to have no information whatsoever when it comes to where teams are positioned later in this game, and they're going to be going in blind.
Yeah, and of course, as we know, it is absolutely essential for teams to have the information. Going up a blind into engagement is not where you want to find yourself. So we're going to be looking to see how the teams are trying to position themselves. And now currently, we're looking over to the players here of Alter Ego. They do have this position up in towards farm, which is a good point to gather the information and make an educated or a really well-informed decision from that point onwards. But of course, now we do have a few teams still hanging about in the vicinity, so the pressure is on. If they move too much, they could get spotted, and of course they could be paying the ultimate price for that, essentially.
The beautiful part about the split from Alter Ego around farm, as you do mention, is you got those two members initially overlooking the rotation of teams coming down from the western, the southwestern portion of Erangel. So you do have more firepower in that frontline engagement. Then you've also got the likes of those two members back for information, as we do say, heading towards Milta, looking over those who are rotating in from the bridge. So what Alter Ego are doing is they're not going for the kills, but they are going for that informational power, as we do mention. They're looking to see where these teams are, so as we say, they can make the best informed decision when they do see that phase 3 shift go on and appear onto the game. And then if it does shift potentially, maybe a hard shift towards the opposite end, they'll be in best stead to do so.
Well, of course, now we look to see what exactly the teams will bring us. We do have that convergence of teams happening once again. A nice little bit of a position here for the team there, of course, coming in from the side of Hale, positioned right on the edge of zone. And we see Seal 9 now looking to push even further on through. And this is where we could have a few interesting lines of attack come in, as we do potentially have Hale looking to set up that gatekeep.
Indeed, Hale, they are holding on for now on the edge, but they'll allow Seal9 to pass. You've got to imagine, just not quite in position to really gatekeep much. Esports Empire, yes, you could still gatekeep them away coming out of Rosshawk. I think, again, Esports Empire, they should be punished for how late a rotation they are making, but it might work out considering also how open that zone is. Gonna have to pray, though, that that zone does shift back over to the likes of Potato Hill, as that phase 3 does shift over onto red screens that will go over towards farm. So actually, Alter Ego, they don't have to move anywhere. What they should be doing now is coming back closer together as a team, understanding that squads will be looking over farm itself as the main compound inside this phase 3 zone. And really, the only compound that is fully, of course, inside this phase 3 zone. The rest of the map on that northern side is more just around ridgelines, more around hills, a few compounds, a few buildings here and there, but not as big as farm.
Well, it is going to be quite a bit of a challenge. We, of course, just saw a few shots coming into the side there of Infinity as they trying to make their rotation up from that Sosnovka Island. But, of course, now both bridges being up in the blue zone, and especially the eastern bridge being occupied by the players there coming in from BURIRAM. So curious to see, of course, now what is going to happen on this eastern front as well, as we see the players here from 21 Esports now looking to push back up. And of course, we got the players from Orange right up ahead of them. We see the shots coming in over towards Sun, and this is where things are going to get pretty tough, as we have seen quite a bit of aggression coming in between both these teams.
Indeed, if 21 Esports can take down Orange, this will be a massive upset, a massive stopper in Orange's climb towards the top. Still, Orange slicing their way into that share of the prize pool, currently in that 5th position, but we do lose one player for now. They will lose one member, you've got to imagine, off of this. And unfortunately for Orange, they aren't just quite there to really be together, to be able to come together as a team to punish this extra rotation coming in from Sun. Yes, you've got Sun over on the other side and Astrox as well on the long-range flank, but they're just not, as we say, in the positions to really punish through completely. At least though Astrox, they are able to find one of Alva on the outskirt of that fight, who did get caught out coming in, rotating into zone. But the more wider threat that I would argue here is not just this fight in particular. The fact with ZEUS as well, if you look at the map, they have been also firing in as a third party. They know that they can punish both of these teams, whoever survives.
It is going to be a pretty tough one to make a play with, but of course now we see the players here from 21 looking to apply the pressure as they're keeping a very watchful eye. Yes, they did lose a player in the exchange, but now they're trying to make up for that with their aggression. And of course there's 2 remaining players that we can see still alive for the side here of Orange. And now this is where we hope that potentially the players here from 21 keep on applying the pressures. They find the first beautiful knock coming in, but they are so close to getting the squad wipe in on the players from Orange. And of course now is up to Astra to make the final stand, and they are getting rushed. Up comes the 21 looking to close the gap, looking to swoop in, find their hits. There we go. Nice. Come on. Oh, always happy trying to get it, but up comes the finishing blow. Absolutely beautifully done. Of course, there, Larry finishing it up, sending the finishing blows in, of getting that squad wipe on the roll. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
I love the way that 21 played that DKB. Don't allow that solo player to try find a pick, as we said, always how he did fall over in that 1v1 engagement. So that's why you bring your team together, to make sure you've closed that fight clean. You don't lose players trying to close it away. Yes, you could have took one away, try finish those kills, but as we see, when you do finish off that other player, they just all fall anyways. You still grab those kills nevertheless. So the right play there from them. They are caught inside the zone though, so it's a little bit later. Happy will fall. Sun and Jaco, of course, with Larry, will have to rotate through. ZEUS are pressuring though inside that zone. They're still looking for that kills. They're still understanding that a fight did come through in the kill feed as well. VPE Vampire up against their own fight. As here comes also DINGOZ rotating in towards the center of zone. But it's Vampire who were retreating off of the hill. They had the high ground position, but it looks like Vampire, what they will take is unfortunately a knock, a death from Vlukiv, and then have to be forced on the retreat.
Oh, this is going to be quite a bit of a challenge. They have a decent position up on the hill here, and of course, they could look to be leveraging that position, potentially looking to gatekeep a few more teams. Well, we see still trying to push all the way up in towards zone, and we can see Rith now coming in with some absolutely beautiful sprays off into the distance over towards the players there from Vampire. But will they be able to close it up? They are also now getting pressured with the team moving in from that northern position, and also while keeping a very watchful eye on Esports Empire down below. And I'm scared that this might be a little bit too of an aggressive approach here for the DINGOZ.
Indeed, DINGOZ, they are going for these fights over onto DRS. You've also got side of BANGKRIK as well, moving down. Hale possibly below, but it's Hale who are also caught still in a fight versus Esports Empire, rotated down below them this time around. But never mind, they still look for the kills nevertheless, as it will be Dreamboat P almost getting hit by a grenade out, and also Braga very low. But these knocks not coming through. Crucial for the side of Esports Empire for now to keep that front hold up.
Oh, of course, now the shots coming through as we do see the players there from BANGKRIK looking to push even further up into the zone, looking to find that position. But now also at the same time, DRS are also looking to push up and get into a good position. We see them just positioned up north. So it is again, once again, quite a bit of pressure on these teams to make a good play, find a good position, and set themselves up in a stronghold for the coming few phases.
And this is a problem as well of DINGOZ. They try to hold up onto the shack, try to take teams rotating away, but you've still got a little bit of a tricky position. You, yes, could rotate down around behind those ridge lines, still dodge out both on those teams if need be, throw a few smokes out, retreat with the vehicles if required. But because of also how close this zone is, you can't continue to navigate down that hill, and there's still going to be that opportunity when you come out of that ridge line. But actually, the likes of BANGKRIK, they can still take fire onto DINGOZ, so they actually have stuck themselves in a position here where they have to take at least one of these teams out to allow themselves that breathing space, where had they actually rotated where Vampire retweeted from initially, they could have actually been in better stead to do so.
Oh, of course, now we're looking to see also what the side here of DRS will bring us. They are very close to the DINGOZ. The kills, of course, now starting to line up that kill feed. Once again, 12 teams remain, 40 players still alive. The DINGOZ now finding a quick shot up in towards AJ. Quick retaliation coming in across the board, but now DRS, they are on a slight bit of a disadvantage here. They do have the blue zone at their backs. They still need to get up into zone, and of course trying to make that passage up into it is going to be quite a bit of a challenge, as we can see. Of course, the pressure still being applied by the DINGOZ, who also still needs to move in. But here we go, Mafia Ninja steps up, puts the shot, and gets taken out in the process. And now it is up to Boru to try and make the stand, as they now need to try and get the numbers, the reses back up and bring the team up to a fighting chance.
So DRS, they are struggling for now. Is Hale holding on to their position for now as well? Should I say DINGOZ, should I say apologies? But DINGOZ, the nevertheless, are going to hold in for now. They do have one knocked player that has been revived. So they are back up as a trio. They are, of course, putting in more work. But behind them, these are where the rotations are coming in from. Esports Empire now also behind them. The side of BANGKRIK moving away from the fight to try have their own position in zone.
Oh, and this is only just heating up as the teams are all now fighting for that position within the zone. Everyone are looking to set up that anchor point, that good potential cover angle even to hold, as they now look to defend it. And we do have the players, of course, now from a DRS making a quick dash, trying to secure that position. Of course, now sending up that first player to get the anchor point solidified. But now also we see the players here from Esports Empire taking quite a bit of pressure, as they've managed to find themselves a position within zone, but it is not the most ideal one to be in.
Indeed, there's barely any position at that inside of zone. Vampire as well, trying to hold on, clinch onto their own position in zone as well. You should mention Esports Empire as well, inside the smoke, nowhere to run. Still two teams up against them, taking those knocks indeed. Shane as well, going to need revive too. Dream OP will almost be knocked too alongside it. There goes a third, as will be Shane also falling completely too. It's just dire for Esports Empire right now, as you've got to imagine all of these teams behind them now. Also, decided DINGOZ rotating in behind them.
Oh, and of course, now everyone is still just fighting for survival, fighting for that position. And of course, we see quite a bit of fighting even happening down into the south here. We see the players there lighting it up, and the team, of course, from Alter Ego finding a shot into BURIRAM. But will they be able to continue the push? We have now been reduced down to 10 remaining teams, and it is still going to be quite a bit of a fight for that position, as we see also the players here from the DINGOZ still looking to push. They are applying the pressure onto the side there from DRS Gaming. We have a position just up north, and so many hits still flying all over the place. But now the third party hits are finding their way through as well.
Such a tricky zone here as that ship goes over on phase 5. DK is even more will fall on that northwestern front. That zone shifting into the open hills, and there's no cover whatsoever. And the problem for these teams is they've already used their utilities in trying to get inside the zone. So now a lot of these teams have got nothing left, and they've still got to try find some way to survive.
Well, of course, now Vampire being one of those teams looking to make a stand. We can just hear the absolute insanity finding its way through as Shrips comes in with the Mark 14, looking to close it up onto the players, of course, coming in there from BANGKRIK Esports. So we have position down south, but they are in a pretty beautiful position as we got quite a few of the teams in contention, positioned up in the north, but also just within line of sight.
Well, BANGKRIK on our south line did lose one member. They get their position inside zone as well. DRS as well going to take down DINGOZ. DINGOZ going to fall as Rift also falls to news. The entire team caught out down in 8th position. They will fall. ZEUS as well holding on as a solo down against Alter Ego. LIMAX still trying to find some form of survival, but it is the shots down from DRS on the northern side all the way across the map that takes ZEUS down.
Oh, I mean, this is looking to be an absolutely insane finish. Insane game, as we can just see so many different hits coming in from all directions. And the teams, of course, now trying their utmost best to survive, to stay alive, to make it up into that chicken dinner. It is going to be quite a bit of a fight still remaining, as we can see, of course, the side here of DRS looking to push on to Vampire. We can see, of course, the Latvia Ninja keeping a very watchful eye on Shreps, trying to put a quick few shots in. But, of course, now Ravenclaw sends a little bit of utility over to the side there of the players from Seal 9. The Infinity now coming under fire as the action just now erupts across the map.
In for DRS, they've already got 7 kills. They're only looking for more here as well. DKB look like they're absolutely on fire when it comes to taking this game down. They've got the high ground advantage. They're fighting even more onto Alter Ego LIMAX. They still can't find a way inside zone. Seal as well gonna fall, and Vampire now also joined inside the top 4, but short-lived potentially for them, as it will be final 3. Alter Ego will fall too.
Oh man, this has been an absolutely brutal zone, but some beautiful shots coming in from BANGKRIK. Just finding that vantage point, and now Vampire also looking to push in, as we can see Ravenclaw having a little bit of a dash there, trying to push up even further. But now we can see Ennie's also positioned down below his vehicle, getting blown up. The pressure is on. DRS are focused. They want this chicken dinner, and it is now up to Ravenclaw for the side there of VPE, the Vampires, to make that stand and of course secure themselves a position within zone. They are so close to the edge of that zone, but they are not in it just yet.
Indeed, and still DRS sure the zone is going all the way through them. Now Nima on a 5-kill streak as well in this game, popping the heck off when it comes to their kills. Now up to a total of 10, and Ravenclaw and Schweppes, they're the only ones alive. Ravenclaw is a solo, but there's nothing left. You gotta imagine DRS, this is their game, DK.
Oh, they are going to bring it, absolutely bring it. And of course now Ravenclaw trying to make that quick rotation, that dash up into zone, goes down. It is now up to Schweppes to make the final stand. It is a 1v3, looking to get that chicken. Oh, beautiful spray comes in, finds the hit, down goes Mafia Ninja. Of course now Schweppes looking to close it up, looking to turn the next one, gets the next knock. It is a 1v1. The nades coming out, the tree is in play. Will we see the shots come in from Schweppes and clean it up over towards Mina? Yes, indeed. It is a clutch. Absolutely insane play. Vampires taking it home, and Schweppes just sweeping a clear finish into this final zone. Insane.
The problem, DK, with the side of DRS is you had Ravenclaw still alive. And Ravenclaw, when it came to that 1v1, had direct line of sight down on towards Nemo, so knew exactly where they were hiding, knew exactly which shot call to Schweppes, where to shoot, and as a result, Schweppes, all it had to do was fire where Ravenclaw told them to, and as a result, picks up 3 easy ones and takes a 3v1 to a chicken dinner. VPE back on top, 10 kills. Now his call's going to increase their lead, which was already them in the first pole position. They look like they're on track to get this $800 in that first place. If this is the way they continue, 3 chicken dinners now in total for them.
I mean, that was absolutely insane. I mean, this is a pretty amazing start to the day. But of course, this is only our first match. We got a few more still to come, and I'm so looking forward to seeing what the teams will bring. If this is how we start our final day, it is going to be an absolutely brutal fight to the finish.
Indeed, you've got to also keep in mind how well DRS played though as well. BANGKRIK as well, climbing up into that top 3 position, even to an extent there. Seal9 back inside the top 5. Yes, they're in 8th position. Seal9, with a few good better results like this, they could still sneak their way into that top 5, coming down from what was the depths of the day 1 leaderboard. They're here to play.
Yeah, definitely here to play. And of course, speaking of playing, we're going to be continuing with our next match in a short few minutes. And we'll be right back with some insane PUBG Mobile action. So stay tuned and we'll see you guys right after the break. Hello and welcome back to our second match of the day. Of course, now we've been seeing quite a bit of action coming off the back of our first matchup on Erangel as we now return to see what the teams will do in our second matchup. My name is DK and I'm accompanied by Mr. HighlandWolf. Wolf, this has been a pretty spicy matchup with VPE again, taking the chicken dinner on the first match of the day.
Indeed, 2 days in a row now, the first Erangel games been theirs, but can they repeat that through to an improvement in the third day? They, yes, had a big win for the second time in a row, but they also fell off quite sharply when it came to those future matches. So it is to see if that consistency can be something that they can give to us in this next match. That playing path going to look very, very similar to the first one. We'll have to see if the zone will also be a similar story too. And when you look towards this game, you've got to also be thinking high on that momentum for DRS and BANGKRIK, who also big wins for them. 10 kills through from a second place finish. Barely didn't take down the top chicken dinner spot. And BANGKRIK as well, rising up to those 8 kills. And as we also mentioned, in 5th position in that first game, 9, also climbing up that leaderboard towards those top 5 positions where the money is.
But of course, now if we look at the side there of DRS, they came into today sitting in 11th place, right? Sitting on 45 points starting it off. So the second position already doing quite a bit of wonders there for their position on that leaderboard. I'm pretty sure it could have potentially moved them up on it to that first page. But now I'm curious to see what the teams will bring as we move into this match and whether or not we'll have a repeat of yesterday's one, because the FaZe Clan took our second chicken dinner with 13 kills. We had Hale, of course, finishing up in that second position. So I'm curious to see whether or not we're going to have a repeat of yesterday, or are we going to have a repeat of our first match of today?
It was that second game, as you mentioned, right, on FaZe. It really did bring them into contention on that top 3, where it did begin today on that leaderboard. And once again, you've got to imagine they're riding higher on what was momentum from that second day. Yes, they struggled in that first game a little bit to try get down to the zone from that northern side. Won't make those same mistakes again. Maybe have to just rotate a little bit quicker. Of course, that zone did get a little dicey for a lot of those late rotation teams. The likes also of Orange, of also 21 Esports, of Alter Ego, LIMAX, all of these squads as well, who have learned hopefully from their mistakes in the first game and how speedy you do have to be on those difficult rotations of zones. That zone itself, though, on phase number 1, DK has moved differently. It's gone towards that northwestern side, and it goes on the opposite end of the plane path. So once again, you do have to think about where are these entrances going to be, and that's going to be once again on those bridges at Yasnaya Polyana, coming past Roshok as well, along that coastal line on the edge of ruins into Gatka Fields. Those are going to be the 3 core locations you've got to assume teams will be gate kept around, and you've got to also assume that some of these teams as well, like rightfully so Steel 9 are doing, rotating far away initially on to try get some peace of mind for the first few phases. Smart moves from them. Similarly, stuff happening down on the south side from Vampire Esports as well, trying to rotate away from where that congestion will be.
Yeah, of course, now nice to see a little bit of initiative coming in there as the teams are looking to rotate out. But of course, now as we look over in towards Malta, we see the team here, of course, from Galaxy Racer already getting knocked right on out. The first few shots coming in there from BURIRAM. We have, of course, sharing the space here with them. So I'm curious to see exactly how the players here from BURIRAM are going to try to turn up the aggression on it towards Galaxy Racers. We've got quite a bit of pressure now on them. But also, at the same time, I'm curious to see where exactly these teams are going to try and rotate on through. Because, I mean, as you've mentioned, we do have a few bridges that the teams could potentially look to use to get up into that zone. And whether or not we're going to have any teams setting up any bridge camps.
Indeed, and something I wanted to point out through from Galaxy Racer here, DK, as well, was that this isn't the same team that we saw back in the PMPL Arabia. There's no big hitters, there's no max cash inside the Galaxy Racer squad, so it is difference of players. Yes, it might be a new roster coming into the organization. It might be a second tier roster coming into this competition potentially, but it's still nevertheless not out, I would argue, for them as potentially they had hoped for. And when it comes to starting to this behind Max, Revenant, another one of those teams, also down towards the side of Yasnaya, sorry, not should I say, Novo, down towards the south side, and they too are struggling with what I want to say here, DK, if I could spit my words out. They also need to think about how they rotate into zone, because I think the Revenant has been a different case here, DK. For them, I would actually argue that they do have the skill to be higher up on that leaderboard. They have actually had the ideas right in their rotations, but it's more been about cohesion when it comes to those team fights and their synergy in trying to take down those opponents.
Yeah, and of course, as we know, synergy is absolutely essential for teams. But now we see Always Be Happy ending himself there with a quick nade. Probably just warming up. I guess that's what it was, you know, just a little bit of a warm-up shot.
That's the excuse we go for.
Yeah, yeah, to see if he's accurate enough. You know, it's like, it's already it's quite a bit of a challenge blowing up someone else, but yourself, that is like next level complexity right there.
Yeah. Also being asleep. It could be being asleep. Maybe the dog or the pet, you know, put a paw on the screen. They weren't looking. They were talking to their mom. Maybe something happened, DK. Who knows? They still blew themselves up anyway. It's a little bit of a feels bad man for them, as they still have to get back up onto their feet, have to still rotate, because as we said, rotations are the name of the game when it comes to this zone, and particularly when you do have that risk of a zone that could continue to go very much towards this northern side. Just keep in mind a reminder how much that zone still is towards that northern portion. The majority of it, even that ocean right towards the north, you can't even see the zone when it comes to the very tip top of that circle, DK. So you do have to imagine that these teams, they should be getting a little bit of a move on, shouldn't be staying around middle to power. Yes, you wait for teams to rotate in early on, try to play for the edge of zone, but in this case, you do have to be ones to be the pacemakers.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. You know, you can't wait for the zone to come to you or the teams to come to you. Well, it depends, of course, on what your position is. If you are within the zone and you do have a gatekeep, yes, obviously the teams are going to come to you. Right. But if you're fighting outside of the zone, it's not the most ideal positional play to go for. And I mean, yes, I agree. The teams would much rather have to get up into that zone, find a good position, setting themselves up for the coming phases instead of waiting for that blue zone to catch up before making those rotations, because that's exactly what we have happening now. The blue zone is closing on in. And if we look over in towards Malta still, we see the players here, of course, from BURIRAM as well as Galaxy Racer. They are over a kilometer away from that zone. So quite a bit of distance is still left for them to try and cover.
Indeed, I think mistakes there coming through, I think also from Revenant, the reason why, unfortunately, they are on the bottom of that leaderboard. They should have actually seen the way that zone going, how far away they are from it. Don't go towards the eastern bridge. We said BURIRAM are always going to be there with a cluster of other teams dropping down in that southeast portion of the wrangle. Rotate very quickly towards that western bridge. You can gatekeep Infinity, you can get loot up on your way there. It would have been much more efficient for them. Instead, they go for the eastern bridge. It's going to be a difficult rotation to actually how that plays out. There's Orange as well. They to find their own knock on that kill. ZEUS also going to fire back for 1-for-1.
Oh, and of course now already 2 players knocked out on either side. So beautiful exchange back and forth between these 2 teams as they are fighting for that position on the edge of zone. Quite a bit of gatekeeping coming in. And now, of course, the team here of Orange being reduced down to only Sansan to look and make that final stand up against the team of ZEUS. And what a bit of pressure this has been so far. Of course, now ZEUS still sitting on a 2-man team from what we can see right here on the mini-map. And this is where we could potentially see Sansan looking to push in and potentially getting that squad wipe.
Unfortunately, Sansan, they do have to be careful though. They're only a solo, and Sansan, yes, they have found a few knocks onto ZEUS, but it's still 2 players. It's 2v1 situation, DK.
Oh, Sansan now, of course, setting up the util. Starts with a bit of a spray. He does still have Astra there to try and provide the additional bit of support. But of course now, this is where we look to see what they'll be able to do as that blue zone closes on up. Astra solo on health. But of course now Sansan managing to get in that race just in the nick of time. We still have the barrage of Utils finding their way on over now, but of course, if they take too long, they do, of course, give the opportunity to the team there from ZEUS to get their own numbers back up, and this would change it up to a 2v3 situation.
That small play, though, was vital that Astrox come back into this game. Yes, also ZEUS are making their own revives in. Godless will be allowed to survive, and this is bad news bears for the side of first Skynin, and also for the rest of side of Orange, unfortunately for them. Sun and Astrox, should I say, they are still going to be gate kept on the zone. They're still going to be at this disadvantage. The only hope now is the side of Revenant, who did rotate very, very quickly, might I add, at least past BURIRAM, but they're going to now gatekeep away ZEUS. They've got a potential on them to start taking some kills of their own.
Oh, and of course, now we got Godless still trying to find their heads, and this is still going to be quite a bit of a hairy fight. You can see Orange now once again being reduced down to 1, and down goes their final player. Blue Zone swoops on in, closes it out, and that is the end of Orange. ZEUS, of course, now left to still continue pushing further on through, and of course now Icy finding the last few hits there, but that Blue Zone doing quite a bit of damage. But now as we jump back on up, we head on over to the players here from DRS once again. They did finish on a particularly strong finish in the previous game, bringing in 10 kills. I'm curious to see just how aggressive they'll be getting in this match.
DRS are controlling over shooting range for now. Are trying to control the hilltops. That information once again over 21. Over also DINGOZ down beside them. And for also those teams rotating in, as you mentioned, back towards ZEUS, they've also got to fight up against BURIRAM, who may decide to stay, try to take ZEUS out. Galaxy Racer still alive as well. Rotating, you got to imagine, past around you guys now. Polyana going for a wider rotation, going to take them longer to get into that zone. Will be behind. Godless as well, falling down to Velmoth. You got to imagine it is only Icy alive. Potentially could be the end of road for ZEUS as well.
Of course, now a very interesting play here from BURIRAM, but of course we look to see whether or not they're going to try and also rotate up in towards the zone, as we can see the rotation there from ZEUS coming in as they now head further up in towards zone. And I don't think BURIRAM really noticed that rotation come in as ZEUS, of course, disengaged and rotated further away. This could be a little bit of a detrimental play here for them. Yes, it is only still in the early phases. It doesn't do too much damage, but if we look towards the zone, we see the rest of the lobby already in a really good position, already setting themselves up. And I think they might be having quite a hard time finding a decent position within the zone.
I'm actually a big fan of Vampire Esports' position in the zone on the edge of George Pole right now. Yes, the Nine did loop that up, but they can still evade a lot of that fighting, rotate towards the coastal line right to the north, and only really BANGKRIK standing in their way when it comes to teams on that coastal line as well. Vampire, they definitely have a lot of onus on them potentially to get a good position in the zone and be safe from the immediate fire of all of these teams around them. As we mentioned, that fire, Revenant also going to lose another one of their players. They will get a revive in, you got to imagine, does an initial knock, but will slow them down as Galaxy Racer will come in behind them. That zone goes back towards the rotation of Revenant as well. And unfortunately for Revenant, that also means those teams above them, Esports, now also DRS, Hale, they're all going to be around them trying to circle in. And that's not a great position for Revenant with that knock to be in.
And of course, if we look over towards the players here coming in for the side of DRS, they've set themselves up beautifully up in towards the north of the zone. They do have a few teams up ahead of them as well as a few teams below them, and we're seeing quite a few shots now, of course, being exchanged back and forth as the teams are fighting for that position within the zone. But now, of course, we do have a little potential bit of contention happening up as Always Be Happy gets knocked out by a nade once again. This time, not by his own, coming in from the hand of Mr. Megamind there. So I'm curious to see, of course, now what will come for the side here of 21 Esports, as they do still have quite a few teams positioned up ahead of them.
Sad face for Be Happy is also there. Revenant pile themselves in behind them. Unfortunate for 21, but being absolutely surrounded. The first ones in, going to be the first ones to fall. Happy will fall down as well. And now just down to Azure, Alva, and Larry will be the only ones remaining on the south side of Roshawk now as well, as BURIRAM will beat those in Roshawk too on the edge of zone, and even to an extent there, Watertown there as well, open a rotation alongside Headshot Hills towards also Infinity could be an option for some of these teams in a wide path rotation. So there are more options than you would think when it comes to deciding if you want to stay on that north side or if you still want to risk it a little bit for that south side zone, DK.
Well, it is going to be quite the decision for the teams to make, and of course looking to find the ideal position to move into. We also see the players here from the Esports Empire closing it up for the team. I believe that was from Galaxy Racer. Of course, now we have 14 teams remaining, 50 players still alive. We do have that blue zone also closing on up, so the teams need to start considering those rotations and of course looking to potentially find a decent setup. As we now hop over to the players here from Revenant Esports, we can see them taking occupation of the compounds here. They do have a few teams positioned of course just up ahead of them, but it is still going to be a pretty tough fight as we have Hale of course now caught in a slight bit of a sandwich here.
Revenant going to be up against Hale, but also more importantly, Vampires rotating in, caught with that wide rotation down to the south of the zone against Alpha, Alter Ego LIMAX, also against FaZe Clan as well. FaZe up for redemption. They did find one knock, but they also found one against them as MR5 is down.
Oh, and of course now the fights are breaking out. Oh, absolutely crazy up here on this northwestern side of the zone. Team here from VPE looking to make the stand. FaZe, as you mentioned, of course, right there alongside them. And this is where the pressure just starts mounting. We got Alter Ego also in the mix, so expecting this to be a pretty hot and heated fight.
Indeed, as well as that zone moving towards hard the eastern side, and the best position in that zone controlled currently by ZEUS and Icy, looking over those ridge lines, looking over down towards Rosshawk. However, as a solo, they do have to be aware of that. They will move down, and that opens up, because of this solo, the position, the strongest position, as I say, inside the zone. The high ground, so crucial as well to taking out some of these southern teams, of course, like BURIRAM, who still need to make that decision on how if they are going to rotate across that river.
Yeah, and of course now, speaking about thinking, I think it was a pretty tough one for the side there of VPE. They finished off strong in the previous round. And this one, they're of course getting eliminated over in, I believe it was 13th or 14th position. So a pretty tough match for them. But this is the beauty of the caliber of these teams. Of course, it is so difficult to predict who will have bringing home that chicken dinner, as it could change at any point in time. But now, as we look to the north of the zone, we can see the players here from Hale, of course, now also trying to find their very own bit of damage on towards DRS. We've got 8E88 sending up the nades, looking to potentially even pick up a bit of damage.
DINGOZ trying to catch as well. FaZe and their rotation in from the western side won't be as successful, though. ZEUS as well fell down at contention. There as well go the rest of FaZe Clan, all in one vehicle. An absolute domination there from the side of BANGKRIK, I do believe. We're able to take them out. Will actually not be BANGKRIK. I do believe it was through towards. It will be 21 Esports who can clean them up.
Oh, and of course now BANGKRIK are now finding themselves in their very own bit of a tough spot as they are going head-to-head with the side of Infinity. And of course now the beautiful shots finding its way on through. The pressure once again starting to build as the teams are coming in with their rotations, looking to push on in. We do have that zone heading even further down towards that eastern front. But of course, up in the north, the players there from Altered Ego LIMAX still looking to push in. They have the squad there, of course, from Hale Esports right up ahead of them. And up comes the shot. Some beautiful shooting, finding its way straight on to the side of the players from Hale Esports.
Hell, none of them are inside the zone, DK. They've still got also the side of Revenant behind them. So it is this sandwich against them. It is a difficult way in. They should have been rotating more so away. Yes, they try something. A beautiful jump there from BE8. Will find one. Will find a way behind a rock. But they're still under heavy fire. There's nowhere to survive. And barely they keep both Megamind and themselves alive. But it is the constant pressure coming through from AE. As DINGOZ also tried to third party.
Oh man, this is a pretty tough spot to be fighting in, but of course now we see 88 stepping up, putting the shots across, finding the first shot into the side there of the players, of course, from Alter Ego, but gets knocked out in turn. Now it is up to Megamind to try and make this final stand, this final rush. Will he be able to pull it off? There's so many players position up here. This is going to be an absolutely brutal fight to try and survive.
I mean, well, Revenant are just sat happy inside their own two houses, waiting for the entertainment to finally come to a climax. As Hale, they finally hold in for now. They took down Alter Ego with the help of the Blue Zone. 2 kills going through to them. DINGOZ also going to rotate down towards that zone, as it did still split between Roshawk and also the northern side. So still the question of where these teams need to go. BURIRAM going to go for a quick dip into the blue before rotating across the bridge and back inside the zone. The best rotation for them. Join up with the rest of their duo, and BURIRAM, they are getting engaged on, so time is limited.
Oh, and of course, we see everyone getting ready to make that rush up into zone. And of course, as you mentioned, BURIRAM right here alongside the squad from the DINGOZ, looking to pick up a few more points. And of course, now Kenzo trying to put the shot straight up ahead. It is a back and forth, cooking up the nades, sending them over. Will it find the spot, though? They spot a little bit of a vulnerability there, of course, looking to try and capitalize on that. But the DINGOZ are hugging the edge of this cliff, just playing that position to the best of their ability. And of course, both these teams are fighting it out in the center zone position. So many more teams still looking to push on in, but the DINGOZ, oh, just having an absolutely tough time surviving the fight here.
The DINGOZ, they thought they could go in, DK, but they're getting 2v4'd when it comes to BURIRAM. Now the full squad's in, the pain only doubles. In for the side of DINGOZ, they're only down to Drift. The grenade will crash in with a vehicle blowing themselves up into smithereens. Zerif, the solo player, has to pull off against a duo.
Oh, it is going to be a pretty tough fight, but of course now we see the teams all looking to push in from this northern position. We have got the team here, of course, from DRS, also looking to move in, but Boro gets knocked right on. Well, they reduced down to 1, though. We got the squad here, of course, coming in from the side of the Revenant, looking to push in, looking to apply the pressure as they too hold their position right here on the edge of zone. But Seal9 just going into town and bringing in quite a bit of chaos as they too are looking to push in. But, well, they're not too worried about position. They are more worried about the teams up ahead of them. And, of course, this is resulting in quite a bit of chaos all across the board. Even the side of the Esports Empire are bringing in the aggression.
Esports Empire is still alive alongside Seal9, and it's shame from Esports Empire is putting in that pain solo against the entire squad of Seal9 from their own ridgeline. Is that zone still relentless? However, with the fighting on the north side, shifts towards the south. Still, that south side of Roshawk available to them, but it is going to be a majority in the north side. Infinity also trying to struggle to find a way in. Nuzi on the front side, trying to find war, and just those 4 kills they've been able to pick up some position to go alongside that. CO9, they are getting crossed. Did lose one on the backside. There's also Revenant still up in this game too.
Yeah, Revenant not backing out just yet. They are still looking to bring home the aggression and potentially bring home a few extra additional points, as they already have been able to secure themselves a position in the top 7 here. So definitely they've got the placement points under the belt, but will they be able to find the kill count that they are looking for? The kill count they are looking to potentially strengthen their position on that leaderboard. It is going to be quite a bit of a fight. We did see them coming into today sitting in that 8th position, so there is still room to move. But of course now time is running out as they are facing quite a bit of a challenge. The shots finding their way on through. Seal9 being put in a slight bit of a disadvantage right here.
For CO9, the hopes to get inside their zone look slim, but it's Rift as well surviving inside that zone amongst all the fire. BURIRAM, they were losing members, as well as now 21 Esports. They're also joining up inside the smoke beside them, and unfortunately for BURIRAM, they aren't the strongest team that they were. Infinity coming in behind them.
Oh, and of course now 21 looking to push in, apply the pressure. Will they be able to get it done, though? So many players still in the vicinity. 11 players still alive. 4 teams remain And it is going to be an absolute bloodbath to try to fight it out for that chicken dinner. Of course, now the side of the Infinity positioned all the way on that southern coastline. So a good advantageous play or position they have here. But if they are able to leverage that, it would be absolutely amazing for them. But it is going to be quite the challenge, as we do see the remaining teams all positioned up on it towards that higher ground. And of course, now already Inky looking to push in, finding the opening in the players here from Esports Empire.
Well, then 9 kills in, and it's Fragger who has to keep that dream alive. As you said, Inky, so strong a player for CO9, has been one of the core reasons why we've been able to grow so far up. They do finish it off, 4 kills going over through them, but it's Infinity wiping up the backside, the south end of this zone. It is them who take down BURIRAM, take down also Hale, and it is them who now are up against 21. The only threat up against them is Seal. Only now join up inside that zone, as it will now shift even once again, but this time towards Seal.
Oh man, it is going to be quite the fight. 3 teams, 8 players. Blue zone in the mix. We've got the hills in play. We've got a pretty tight position for these teams to try and squeeze on in. And of course, we can see just up ahead of the place here from 21. We've got the team there from the Infinity looking to find their way up into a zone. The zone didn't shift up too much for them. They just have to move along that coastline and they are secure within the zone. But I'm interested to see, of course, now what will come in from the side here of Seal 9, as they are looking to push in from the north and they have to contend with the players coming in there from 21 Esports.
Seal 9, they do have the tree, they have the rock recover for now. They've gone for a 1-1 split, which is risky if one of them do fall down. And Infinity are pulling up, but they've got the vehicle, they've got one player in position. Logan is inside the zone. Infinity have survived another zone for now. If Logan can just stay alive, the rest of them still on the south side. But nevertheless, he's still busy. A full squad up against the 2 duos. Seal 9, they do find one for one trade as 21 Esports also lose down to a solo.
Oh, and of course now Inky looking to make the stand, as we got Logan just down below, but of course the rest of the team there from the Infinity all still trying to squeeze themselves back up in towards the zone. As we can see, Larry now getting knocked out in the kill feed, and the Mollies finding their way up on towards Inky, who is now the last remaining hopeful for the Seal 9 team. Quite a bit of pressure now coming in as we see the players looking to push in, looking to apply that pressure, and of course now also looking to close it up as Infinity is moving in. They still have 1 player to get up in towards the zone, but they are coming in with 3 players strong. It is quite an advantage over and above the side here of Seal 9, as we only see 1 remaining hopeful.
And that 1 player alive is, of course, Inky. They just can't quite get those mollies and can't quite get this grenade. So finally, one will land straight onto Inky, forcing a position out. Finally, Inky will be pushed against the blue zone. But for how much longer can Inky survive? They do survive once more, but then Relentless to throw a ball straight back in. Another molly straight onto Inky will steal the fate. Infinity, this should be their game.
Oh, now of course we look to see what will come as they start rushing in on 21. They close it up, take home the chicken dinner. Of course, does so in style, finishing off with a very strong 12-kill game.
Infinity, they have, we mentioned at the start, struggled to get on top of this leaderboard, but just like Orange in the second day, with them falling down comes rise to new teams to rise to the top. And my golly gosh, did it be Infinity who were able to come back up clutch. They took a 6th position, keep in mind, in that first game as well. DK 6 kills. This time in the second game, they even had a win with a chicken dinner. Now also a 12-kill game coming through from them. 21 Esports. I think for them, respect to them, credit, taking our 2nd position. Also their 6 kills, grabbing a position higher in the leaderboard. I don't think 21 contention for the top 5 is Infinity that are the real deal here. That do have now, with that big win, another 2 big wins potentially from them. Good results, could still see them up there.
Yeah, and of course, what a very impressive play there was. And of course, it is the second chicken dinner for the side there of Infinity. But I mean, this has been an absolutely brutal game. And I'm pretty sure the team from 21 also now appreciate the additional points they were able to acquire in this match. Of course, they did come into today sitting in that 15th position with only 21 points to their name. So definitely looking to see, of course, where the teams will end up and how exactly this will come to an end. But of course, now we've got 2 more matches still to go. Of course, we'll be bringing you the action after a short few minutes to see you guys back after the break.
You
Hello and welcome back. We are getting into our third match of the day. Of course, heading straight on over into a little bit of Sandhawk action here. We've already seen 2 games. That was absolutely on fire. And of course, you're here with me, DK, accompanied by Mr. HighlandWolf. We'll be taking you through the action as it unfolds right here on Sandhawk. And so far, Wolf, as I've mentioned, we've been seeing some pretty spicy gameplay coming in our first 2 matches.
Again, it's been dominant from the top of the leaderboard, with VPE Vampire Esports taking home the first game, 10 kills. Infinity just hop off the press of that second Erangel match, 12 kills going over to them, shooting their way back up on the leaderboard. And as we go down onto the third game, Sandhawk, unfortunately for these teams, yes, it is going to be a slightly southern playing path. Fortunately, however, it's only going to be a 4K by 4K map, so still a lot of the map available to them. Particularly, though, note that a lot of that congestion that we saw in yesterday's Sandhawk game not going to surely be as much, where that Northwest Island isn't as much in play early on. Depending where also this zone goes, maybe we do see some zone that is particularly hard. I would argue that more the eyes down towards that south side, DK, particularly around Quarry, down towards where these teams rotate on the south end. That's where it's really important for me for these teams, because that really dictates a lot, particularly with this zone going to be so much more onto this main portion and down towards that south side as well, where these teams are used to rotating early on, as we say.
Well, it is going to be pretty tough for the teams now to find a good play, but I'm liking the spread, though. I mean, we don't have teams really hard dropping. There is still a bit of separation coming in, and of course now the teams, you know, just respecting the spaces, just holding their own for the time being, allowing everyone to get through that looting phase. But I'm curious to see what the teams are going to start doing as we get to the end of this first initial phase, whether or not we'll be having any rotations come in, because we already see the team there from Hell looking to just push up a little bit closer in towards that more centralized region in and around the quarry there. But of course, I'm curious to see what the players from Esports Empire will be bringing, as we did to see them clutching that chicken dinner in the Sandhawk map from yesterday.
Esports Empire, they have been having promising plays when it comes to reaching to the late game, but those final few minutes of the first 2 games just haven't quite been their way. Yes, it had 9 kills in the second game, however, 4th place finish. Still going to be a total of a 17-point game for them, which by no means is a bad game coming off of the Erangel fold. So Sandhawk, high momentum for them. As we said, they have gotten a chicken dinner yesterday, game 3, game 4. If they can set themselves up with those high points once again, could see them still scrape their way inside the top 5. But as you did mention, the side of Hale, very split, and early on this is quite risky for these teams, because the likes of also BANGKRIK spreading their way up as well, up towards the more northeastern side as well. Barn going to be where you see one of the side of 21 Esports also lose one of their members, Sun getting caught out early on by ZEUS.
And of course, now Godless getting taken out, paying the price for daring to knock out one of the players there from 21. But as we look just to the opposite end there of Quarry, we of course see the team from BANGKRIK looking to push in on that position where we see Hale. So quite a few interesting rotations we could have as the teams are looking to make their way on through. But for the current time, it is still a slow, steady approach. The team's not looking to get too aggressive just yet. They are playing a little bit of a cautious approach here. But once they have that opportunity, once they have that line of sight, that is when we see the shots follow suit.
It's why also I love the Hale. They come back together very early on. Yes, of course, they surely can't be done with the looting stage, but understanding BANGKRIK were pressing their position on top of them. You rotate Hale together, you stop BANGKRIK keeping that press onto your players, onto your solo players on the front line. You strengthen yourself as a team, and especially considering that ZEUS also rotating towards the north of Quarry, there wasn't really space for Hale if they had been pushed to retreat backwards away from the fight. It's a smart decision overall in taking those early on plays. Esports Empire also going to go for plays when it comes towards that boot camp hill. Slightly concerning though for me early on when teams do go very quickly towards boot camp hill. Yes, you also looted up the L compound, but it's only going to give you so much. And of course, boot camp hill not known for its plethora of loot, and they are going to be a little bit scarce if they don't continue to loot around or around them in specific. And that's why you also see Fragger down below the hill itself, trying to get those buildings en route in.
Well, it is going to be a challenge nonetheless. And of course, now ZEUS taking a little bit of fire there once again as Hail now comes hailing down with the pressure. Of course, now ZEUS being reduced down to only one remaining hopeful. It is Icy, and we don't see Icy anywhere near the rest of the team. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Icy is going to be running this one solo for the remainder of the match.
But Dasher also in a spot of bother here as the rest of FaZe Clan entirely starts to come up the mountain. Tony K as well pressing forward in the front line. For Badasha, they do have to realistically get back here. The rest of their team not with them. Shane only close, but all the way away on the other end of the hills. So there won't be that support if required. Hale as well, as she said, are going to move up again. ZEUS, unfortunately, falling a bad game just down to Icy. ZEUS, they have struggled, I think, in this tournament once again, struggling. It's down to, I think, their own micro mistakes in this early game. Their positioning just hasn't been quite on point. Their synergy, as we said, as a team, just hasn't been quite on point. Remember, even back to the group stage, DK, where ZEUS also struggled. It was a surprise to see that world-class caliber team not quite be able to dominate in the way that we thought they would.
But of course, this is the beauty of having, you know, a match up like this. Having the teams go head to head, showing us what they've got. And sometimes we have some pretty surprising plays come into the mix. As we also now look over to the side here of 21 Esports. They've been bringing quite a bit of action throughout the past few matches and the past few days. But of course, now they have been reduced down to only a two-man team going up against the side here of Revenant Esports. So again, they're finding themselves in a bit of a difficult position. But they are still bringing in the effort, and they're still looking to potentially bring up a few upsets.
Equally, both of these teams, they don't have much to lose. DK, both Revenant and 21. It's not likely that they get inside the top 5 unless they have some absolutely spectacular games. 21 Esports also even more unlikely, of course, being reduced to a duo. I think that for them, it is just about trying to get as much points as they can for Pride when it comes to the end of this competition, but more so the onus on some of these teams higher up on the leaderboard, and the likes of also Vampire, who yes had a strong first game but were nowhere really to be seen when it came to that second match. And yes, it created a lead, but that lead then shortened, and now also the likes of those teams starting to claw their way back in. Vampire, the onus on them still to get at least one more good game to ensure that they take that first spot.
Oh, but of course now we see the players here from, oh man, Revenant just venturing a little bit too far out of their position. The shot's finding its way straight on through as 21 Esports bring in the hits, and of course making it a little bit harder for them to get that push going. But of course now we see E365 alive here, Alva rather, looking to push up, looking for this angle, but of course his teammate is on the complete opposite end. We can see him now starting to push on in, but those nades come flying on up, and it is now up to Always Be Happy to try and close it out against the side here of Revenant. But this already now being a very shaky start for 21 Esports.
Be Happy, unfortunately for them, 21 doesn't have the high ground advantage. The side, of course, of Revenant, they have also the man advantage. They have a player behind them as well. Can see Top Dog rotating in on that side flank. Potentially could go in for the sandwich, finish up away 21 completely early on in this game. You also have to keep in mind this phase 2 zone had also shifted equally between mostly that main island and still the southwest island. So these late rotating teams on top of Alter Ego LIMAX like DINGOZ, they too will also slowly make their position known, have to also make that decision if they do cross into the main building. But it could also be scary for them if they do decide to stay onside the bridge to potentially go for the kills. Those in the mainland could get caught up by a hard southwestern shift.
Yeah, and of course now we can see that zone sitting pretty down in towards the south. So the team's now having quite a bit of a challenge up ahead of them. Not a lot of teams that we see on the outlying regions of the zone, but it is still going to be quite a bit of a fight in the zone itself, as the zone allows the teams to go out and start exploring a little bit, start looking for those potential engagements. And as we of course can see, ZEUS Icy still just holding on, the solo remaining player for the squad there. Of course, position still just on the outlying region there of Quarry. Hale still holding on. But now we see the team there from Revenant also starting to venture a little bit further forward. FaZe holding that position just outside of bootcamp. And of course now the team there from Orange pretty close to DRS, as we can see DRS now just looking to rotate a slight bit further down to the south, but getting right up in there with the squad of Orange.
Unfortunately, Skynin trying to potentially take down Nima. Nima going right bow in, only going to scout out. Could get caught by Skynin on the long range flank, but is surviving for now. Can't quite find anyone. The shots won't come through. And Orange, they hold off, more importantly, but not willing to press their position, let their position be known into DRS's hands. Nina still not going to find anyone, still going to have to go back through on the edge of zone, and as a scout, very, very risky indeed to go so far away from the team. If actually Orange do decide, understanding that one of those players could be very far away from them, to go for Gael and the rest of those DRS members up again front.
But it's an interesting play though coming in here from DRS, because as we saw now, Nima getting in the vehicle, moving out, but I'm pretty sure that DRS could have potentially spotted some movement coming in from Orange, because if we look over on towards Mafia Ninja, we can see Mafia Ninja just scouting out the area, especially over into the direction of one of the players coming in for the Orange team. So now we have the team, I think, moving up on the queues coming in here from Nima. All right. They've been trying to pull out that movement from Orange, looking to see if any of them will budge and potentially jump into the engagement. Of course, now Nima just taunting the side here of Orange.
Indeed, Nima knows that potentially Skynin caught out here, maybe have found one of those members Orange, but they are sitting on the edge of those rocks, holding on. Gaelsang will be also taking one down, with AJ potentially alongside them. Skynin holding up in for the side of functionally for DRS. They couldn't find those players in Orange, with their patience, have now also found a knock. Surprisingly, Skynin didn't go for Gaelsang. No, Nima also inside the truck, almost takes down Gaelsang with that grenade, though will go in. Nima on behind as well. We'll know that one coming through. The revive comes through, but so does the double knock. And now Orange there on the oppression.
But I'm liking the way that Orange actually played this one. They used that opportunity to get a good position, a good spread around the team here of DRS. And now they are moving in, coming in with that pressure. And of course, now putting the team here from DRS on quite a bit of a back foot, as Mafia Ninja is now the last remaining hopeful for his team. The shots come in and Orange wrap it up with a beautiful strategy, playing a beautiful game right here over on towards Sanok. But of course, now we see the players there from Hale also facing a bit of a challenge of their very own.
And Hale, as well, as you said, still stuck in the midst of everyone. Is that zone still 50-50 between the southwest and the main island? It's deciding to go more towards the southwestern shift, as we did potentially predict. Some of these teams on the mainland were very far away from. We have decided to rotate in anticipation, so we will not have such a ways to go. Seal9 also potentially up against BURIRAM, but it is around BANGKRIK who are fighting more so against FaZe. Once again, FaZe going for that fight.
Of course, we also see the players here from Revenant looking to push in, and all the vampires having a pretty tough time now up in it towards Sanok. But as is the case for the players here from Revenant, as the shots are finding their way on through, and it is up now to Wizard God to try and make one of the final stands here for the team. They've, of course, been reduced down to only 2 players. They have 4 kills on the board, so not a bad match so far for them. But with the reduction in players here, the pressure is definitely on for them to bring in those strategic plays.
Indeed, as also keep in mind, Hale with 7 kills, only as a duo as well. They are holding on for now. Esports Empire will find one onto FaZe, as FaZe just not quite out of woods yet, as they do search for their first kill. ML5 was knocked, so now only Ventora's on that front line to defend. Narf as well on the third party, potentially still could fire down.
Oh, and of course, we've got Tony K up in the mix here as well. But Ventores, as you said, of course, the front line gets picked up. Now it is up to Tony K to put down the defensive shots. And of course, what a beautiful spray that is. 2 players now getting knocked out for the side there of the Esports Empire. As we see now, Fragger looking to push on in. Will he be able to get it done? No, down he goes, and the dream gets stopped right there. As, of course, some beautiful sprays come in from the FaZe Clan.
Esports Empire, unfortunate for them, they get taken down. The side, of course, of FaZe showing their prowess once again in team fighting and showing us why they are one of the best, DK, when it comes to that close quarter combat. CO9, though, also loving their position when it comes to being quiet down on our south end. They've got a beautiful position overlooking the bridge, passed down to south of Painan. They've got a beautiful position actually gatekeeping BURIRAM, who they could judge that it will be them based on previous rotations similarly done in day 2 and also day 1 of Sandhawk. And now also they have information with that also scout player of Amra going to be able to potentially pick apart the information of Orange and also Vampires. However, they do need to be careful. There are, as we said, all of these 3 squads around them, and it could easily start to get third or even fourth partied.
Yeah, and of course, now DINGOZ getting pressured here by Vampires. As we can see, Schweppes now trying to get a bit of a spray in. We do have the players there from DINGOZ looking to push further up that hills. We see those dashes coming on through. But of course, now will we see Schweppes rather, find those hedge? Snaps is a completely different drink, but still a drink. One with a little bit more kick. So maybe Schweppes is more of a bubbly kind of approach. So, I mean, yeah, Schweppes definitely been popping it off, so I see why the name's there.
Indeed, it might need a drink after this, so if it doesn't go his way, certainly DK is. They are on a tricky position on the edge of zone. We have potentially that hillside still to maneuver up, but surprising how scared these teams are moving into the center. And when you do look towards the terrain there as well, DK, how flat and how scary it is with the dips inside those hills, and the fact there isn't really that cover when it comes to that center of the zone. That's why these teams are playing on that edge. Alter Ego LIMAX did rotate as well down from the south side of Camp Charlie. Still one player to come through. Espov, I imagine, going potentially for a healing. Yes, they are. 31 first aid kids. That's when you know that Alter Ego LIMAX, their strategy is decided.
Yeah, they're locked and ready to roll, ready to bring in that hill strat if it is required. But of course, now the current moment we see the team here from Orange looking to apply the pressure to them. But I'm liking the spread coming in here from Alter Ego as they are using that ridge, that cover, to try and spread themselves out and making it that much more harder for the side of Orange to close it up on them. But of course, now we see some beautiful shots, some beautiful nades coming in from the side of Orange. Astro keeping a very watchful eye still, hoping to find those finishing blows, but there's still one player coming in, of course, for the side there of Alter Ego, just ever so slightly to the east, and they have not spotted him just yet.
Crucial that we still stay alive, though. Crucial that they give this information through to Espov as they will slowly make their way into zone and just allow that information to say, well, BURIRAM, they are there. Don't go too far across that bridge. You could still be taken out. Stay inside the Camp Charlie for now. That zone will, however, move towards the northern side. Will push a lot of those southern teams, all that congestion, back inside of the play. FaZe are going to go straight, though, into the fight versus DINGOZ. They do find one initial knock on the scout in, and DINGOZ, it doesn't look good for them.
Oh, and of course, now here we go. MR5 just trying to creep his way on through, looking for that position. We've seen a pretty good start coming in here from FaZe. Of course, now Tony picking up quite a bit of damage, but DRS gets knocked on out. Tony K now right there, just providing that additional layer of support, looking to get a slight bit aggressive and potentially blow a hole in the aggressive push coming in from the DINGOZ. But it is going to be quite a bit of a challenge. But nonetheless, Tony K finds the knocks, finds the hits. And of course, we can already see Tony K on a 5-kill streak.
Tony K, we know how strong this player can be. Already past the 20 kill mark when it comes to frags in these 12 games worth of finals. And there's still another one to go after this for them. Is as well, CO9, they do press their advantage onto Orange, reduce them down to what will only be a solo on their 6 kills. Still up against BURIRAM to face 1v4 literally as Inky finally gets knocked down.
Oh, now it's up to Monkey to make that final stand, but it is not enough. BURIRAM closes it out, and off they go. ready to wait for the next match. But this is where it is gonna be pretty much a trend we see across this zone now, as the teams are gonna come in with those third-party hits, and that is exactly what we have. Orange stepping up and of course looking to pick up the hit, but VPE stealing the kill, and down goes Orange to the blue zone. So VPE of course now feeling pretty comfortable with a decent amount of kills under the belt. But as we jump up to Hale, we see them positioned up into the north, of course still right here alongside the remaining player for the Revenant Esports team. And this is where Wizard God is going to be facing quite a challenging time here.
I think for VPE, though, with that flush down on the south side, Pov unfortunately wasn't quite able to mark the timing of that healing perfectly enough. Will go down as well. Opens up the opportunity for Vampire to really take this game into their own, as they are the only players inside of that play area itself. Phase 6 now still hailed Phase. The side also of Revenant, as you mentioned, that solo player still to make it inside. However, we also shouldn't forget their... Oh, well, never mind. We will have to forget about them. There goes a healing player from the side of Alter Ego LIMAX. Don't know how that one happened. 31 first aid kits just weren't quite enough.
Well, you could have all the medkits in the world. If your timing is a slight bit off, it helps you not one smidgen bit. But of course now we see the side here of Hale also now just looking to secure position within the zone. As we can see Zizak now trying to pick up the shots. We still of course have our remaining player there for Revenant Esports, Mr. Wizard God, holding off. And of course now the shots are coming in as Zizak draws too much attention to himself. He gets picked up into that position, just completely eliminating the anchor point the team here from a Hale had within that zone. But of course now the dashes are coming through. The blue zone is doing its damage, puts an end to the side of Revenant Esports. But of course we still see Alter Ego LIMAX still in play, still holding on, but not out of the woods just yet.
Alter Ego LIMAX still alive, as you said, but they have the entrance into more so than I would argue for likes of Hale, who, yes, had a bunch of kills when it came to that early game, but haven't been able to find that success since the mid-game point onwards. FaZe as well, just down to MR5. That's Revive will come in, but as well, VPE Fluke is searching slow but surely for those kills, is searching for that front line, that information inside. VPE, I would rather to see them, however, to come back as a trio if Flukiv does come back, as indeed they will. Very easy for VPE and for Vampire to really take this game. No real threat that can come out apart from FaZe in this match.
Of course, now we still see those heal strats coming in as the blue zone is closing on the up. Megamind looking to bring in that heal strat. But of course, now FaZe looking to push up and down they go. Running into Alter Ego. And of course, now Nuts just bringing up an absolutely nutty play, finding a beautiful spray. And of course, now sitting on a very comfortable 4 kills for his team. But down he goes as the nades come flying in. Stoned, putting a very abrupt end to that. And is now up to Mr. Megamind to find that heal off out in the blue zone. Of course, up against the side of the Vampires.
He ain't going anywhere when it comes to that final first aid kit, DK. It is his final straw. There goes Megamind. There's only a few seconds. Spraying into the abyss as it will be Vampire Esports to take this game.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Hale now. Hailing from the lobby, of course, of securing that second position. But what a beautiful finish that is for the side there of the Vampires. A very, very, very nice finish. And of course, I can't see how they could complain about a chicken dinner being handed to them on a silver platter like that.
VPE, another game win for them. We said at the start of this that they needed to be able to get a good game in the bag to make sure they solidify their top spot on that leaderboard. They've got it. They've grabbed it on top of where all of the rest of these teams, I think Hale, definitely a second place for them, keeps them in contention, but it's going to be so much harder for them considering they've not quite had the results they decided VPE have had through today and through previous matches, the same consistency as those above them. FaZe as well, who were coming in clutch on the top of leaderboards, also coming up in 4th position, also with 10 kills, might I add as well. Could be more likely for FaZe to overtake Hale. So that's where I think the leaderboard really does start to congest there, DK.
Yeah, you got to give it up to FaZe though. That was still a very, very beautiful play coming in. But I mean, also the players there from Orange, they finished off particularly strong in this match as well, finishing on 9 kills. Still a decent number, even though they finished in 6th place. It is still, you know, something to commend there. So well done, well played, absolutely phenomenal stuff. But of course, that is what we were expecting coming into Sanox. Seeing quite a bit of aggression come in, and what an absolutely brutally challenging zone we had. Rather giving so many interesting positions for these teams to try and cope with. But of course, now we are going to moving up into our final match of the day, taking us right back in towards Erangel. So we'll be back with our final match here right after the break. Hello and welcome back to the final match of the Thunder Cup series. Of course, this is going to be pretty exciting to see what the teams will bring on in, and this of course is going to be the culmination of all the games. But of course, we have to just state this in advance. The results will be posted on social media after the game, so be sure to have a look over towards the Esports Empire's Instagram for an update on that. But in the meantime, we are going to be getting up into the match here. My name is Zeke, and of course with me is the ever lovely HighlandWolf. We're going to be taking you through the action on this final game as we now enter in towards Erangel.
Indeed, one more Erangel match to decide it all. In VPE, they're looking pretty spicy at the top, but as well, the other two teams that we've really got to hone our focus into for the final match here is Hale and FaZe Clan. Now, these two teams have been stuck together still when it comes to this final match, and whoever will grab that second, third place position. Also, I think a slight little bit of a glance towards, of course, that fourth and fifth place position where the other points or where the prizes are as well for these teams. And looking actually towards Orange, if they have one great game, Orange maybe can redeem themselves, but it is looking more like BURIRAM, BANGKRIK. These are the two teams to take it.
Well, it is going to be interesting to see, of course, what they'll be bringing in and who's going to be the team to clutch it out. Of course, we're going to be looking to see what the players here from VPE will be doing as they are dropping all the way up in towards that Zaki position. So very far up north drop there for them, ensuring that they stay out of harm's way, at least in the early game. But of course, now we're also waiting in anticipation to see where that first initial zone is going to pop. And it takes us all the way down to the south. So this is a beautiful finish for the day here. Moving down south, this is going to result in pretty interesting plays.
I love when we get to see a zone DK down towards the South Island. I love when we get to see plays and decision making on when to stay in the main part of the wrangle, when to move down, when and how also to move down to that South Island if required. Keep in mind also a smidge of that western side of the wrangle still open to play, and we have seen hard shifts already in the previous two matches. Could be a similar case coming into the final game. We'll have to see how the PUBG gods will decide. Here's ZEUS as well, talking about gods and Pachinki. ZEUS as well. I think for Pride, really need to improve when it comes to this final game. They currently started the day back in the first game in 12th position. They have had a very difficult series of games. Icy tried as a solo to bring Sandhawk back, but just couldn't quite bring it completely into that top final position. And for me, the synergy really has been the most surprising thing missing out of his team. As we said, ZEUS are a world-class organization when it comes to PUBG Mobile, and to see them struggle in this fashion, it might be a different age for this organization indeed.
Yeah, of course, now it is going to be quite a bit of a struggle for a lot of these teams in the lobby here. And of course, as we look now over in towards that South George container yard, we see the players here from Esports Empire right alongside the team from FaZe Clan. We did have a little bit of an engagement come in between these two teams, but of course now we're looking to see whether or not they're going to try and continue with that, as we do have that zone sitting so far down into the south. But of course now a few more shots coming in as we hop over in it towards the lovely Sosnovka military base. The team here though for I8 only on a two-man team.
Indeed, unfortunately for I8, they seem to have given up hope, and unfortunately for them, Boozum now going to fall, only going to be Refused remaining. Does find Mela, though, on the sliver of HP, still not quite done yet, though will heal in with the adrenaline shot as best they can, the kills as best they can coming in. And as a duo, they said they gave up hope, but refuses to die. In Infinity, they are struggling as well, down to just a solo. Logan trying to clean this one up, should be a bit, but no, Refuse still with the solo. Into solo HP as well. Does find in 4 kills through to I8.
Wow, that was an impressive play coming in there from Refuse. I mean, that was just beautiful to see. Absolutely insane. I mean, taking on that fight with almost no health. Wow. The size of the nads on that guy. That's just insane. I mean, I can feel the adrenaline rush even on this end. I mean, we're not even playing, we're just spectating.
Oh man, but we're still not done yet. But when it comes to that northern side, the opposite side of FaZe and Esports Empire, you mentioned it previously. Now, Esports Empire, they are being a little bit more aggressive when it comes to their playstyle in this final game. They are going right into the face of FaZe. FaZe as well, MR5, Tony K on that front line. Still one of their members far away. But now it is actually Esports Empire slightly close together than Torres off that flank side as well. It is going to be though FaZe. They do find Badash on one angle entering in as they do edge their way slowly but surely. We'll stop them for now on that 2-2 split. Fragger as well falls now behind. Can't really help Badash. Does get round of equal, does get round a crate in time, so we'll be able to find that revive in, reset for now. And on the rest of the map, as we do look at the rest of these rotations, DK, you do see the tendency of these teams. Of course, the clusters starting to come into that South Island as Dream OP also will fall to the side of FaZe Clan. It will be though BANGKRIK up against DINGOZ.
Oh, but of course now the FaZe Clan are looking to find the hits here, looking to close it up, and we can see, of course, that Guildford, as you mentioned, bringing in its own little slither of action there. But of course now the side of FaZe Clan taking quite a bit of a beating now. They did find quite a few beautiful shots, but it is looking pretty tough there for them as Mr. Ventores now is the last remaining hopeful. What a beautiful push that is coming in from Esports Empire.
We wanted to see that aggression all done day, all done competition of these finals. And finally, Esports Empire, they grow that confidence. Formerly, of course, as we said, ITBF dominator. We didn't know them before being such an aggressive team, but definitely that has improved. Their confidence has improved, and their synergy has improved over the competition. And yes, they might not be the top in these entire finals, but towards the future sides of Asian competition here, DK, they're certainly looking like a team that can come up strong.
Yeah, and of course, you know, sometimes all a team needs is a change in name to bring in that change in the gameplay. But of course, now we're looking to see whether or not they'll be able to continue on and get the rest of the squad wipe onto the players here, of course, from FaZe Clan. As we do see Ventores now moving up into that high ground position. It could be quite advantageous, and it is going to be quite a bit of a challenge, though, for the players there from Esports Empire to move in and close it up all the way through. But, of course, now we can see so many more hits coming in, and actually the blue zone coming into the play as well.
Blue zone indeed is the side of vampires. There's the ones who will struggle initially, but Seal as well going to struggle on the end of this fight. Is Stoned will rotate round the far end. It was actually Seal 9 taking advantage of the few scouting members of Vampire. However, it's still a 3v1 for Schweppes to take hold of. Still Seal 9 very much in control, and for them it might be, yes, a win potentially on the cards, but it's not a clean final game. Still Stoned has to bring this one back in.
Oh, and of course we're seeing these engagements coming in all across the board as this Eastern Bridge also now is starting to heat on up. We of course have the players in a position here, being the team from REVENANT going against the side of BURIRAM, who we look to push on over. But there we go, the hits now coming in as we see a few more shots for the Vampires. But this is where I'm curious to see what the players here, of course, from REVENANT will be doing on this bridge.
Indeed, REVENANT top dog keeping using the buggy on the edge of the bridge as some form of blockade against BURIRAM on their entrance in. Also keep in mind Orange alongside DRS. They too looking for that space down to South Island, not willing any of these teams to hold on and hope that it may shift back to the north side. Surprising how much though in play that north could still be, and how very much so it could still be a second phase. It's just away from the South Island and forces all these teams back across once again.
Oh, I mean, of course, we also did see the demise there of the FaZe Clan coming in. But now we see the teams are looking to push up on towards the southern island. Of course, ZEUS now also just on the bridge looking to push across. Still have a bit of contention over towards that eastern bridge. But we still now looking to see also what VPE, Seal 9, and of course the side there of the team from the Esports Empire will bring. As they still have quite a bit of ground to cover to make it up into that zone safely and securely. But now jumping over onto the side here of DRS, they are looking to apply the pressure onto this bridge and bring the action to BURIRAM.
BURIRAM on that bridge, still trying to find some way across. DRS still in the midst of the fight. There will be BURIRAM still to lose another Belmoth alongside a trade with Nima as well going down. This DRS straight on in as Gaelson almost goes down.
Oh, Online comes rushing around the corner, tries to put the shots on in, but he gets taken out. It is now up to the 2 remaining hopefuls. Of course, now G9 as well as Kenzo looking to close it up as they make their way on through. Of course, now chasing away the side there of any potential threats they could have as they close it up and, of course, bring an end to the side there of DRS. 13 teams now remain in this lobby, and of course quite a bit of contention still to come on through. We still have a slow rotation now making its way through from the north, but things are definitely starting to heat up on the island itself.
And not only on the island, but Melter, look, 21 Esports also up against Orange, and Orange JO2 struggling to find a way down.
Oh, let's jump up into that fight and see, of course, now the side here of 21 being reduced down to the last remaining hopeful. Of course, now Larry left to make that final play, that final dash, as we do have the side of Orange closing the distance there and looking to avenge their own teammates getting knocked out. But it is going to be quite a fight, quite a challenge, though. Still up ahead here for 21 Esports.
Sun will go down for 21. They lose another, and now comes in the rest of Orange, as we said. But even a third party is now also down from the depths of the Shadows. Galaxy Racers, they came from last position, but could massively upset if they decide to go in for the fight. Still a 3v4 situation for them going in if they do.
Oh, a lot of crossfire now coming in, of course, now as 21 is looking to push up, but down they go. The tables now, of course, getting turned as Orange is not out of the woods just yet. We do have that pressure coming in from the side here of Galaxy Race, and this is where Puff Puff now looks to hold on. Of course, Sun also still alive, already losing Skynin as well as Astro. So it's going to be quite a bit of a challenge as they now too try to rotate up into the safety of the zone there.
Indeed, the shots come in for the vehicle on behind, but the side of the car won't be completely taken down. Yes, it smokes up. Pop gonna have to get away from the line of fire. He's still flaming up, still has to escape inside the edge of the beachfront. Will be able to survive for now, alongside Sun as well. Will also survive, smoking but alive nonetheless. Still though, albeit, how do we get across this bridge? Still BURIRAM, still Revenant fighting across it. Revenant holding on for now.
Oh, Top Dog comes in with that M249, laying down the fire, but of course now, oh, they swoop in, putting an end to quite a few of the BURIRAM players. Now, of course, Top Dog still having that M249 in hand, is looking to close it up and find the finishing blows up in towards Kenzo. As you can see now, this is quite the difficult position to be in. Yes, they are fighting in the blue zone, but they're also under the bridge, so they do have limited options with regards to positions.
Look at that zone, indeed. That's about a 50% water zone for phase number 3. And oh my goodness, DK, if we got a game on our hands when it comes to the final match already. Alter Ego LIMAX directly onto the edge of the Subnautica military island. There to BANGKRIK going to be driving on in because it is the coastal line that these teams are playing for. We know that this is the best point of contention for any of these squads.
Oh, and of course now BURIRAM getting caught in a very difficult position. We can see Kenzo here isolated on the bridge, taking quite a bit of damage from all directions, but essentially the blue zone comes in to close it up. Orange now still looking to find that rotation across onto the island itself, as we still see them positioned on the bridge. Galaxy Race, of course, moving in from behind, but now we see BANGKRIK up ahead, looking to set themselves up on that coastline, but things are definitely looking pretty tough over towards this eastern bridge, as Orange now trying to out-heal this blue zone while still trying to figure out a way to get onto the island.
You've got to imagine there's just little ways inside of this blue zone through into the play area by now. It's just too much, too far for these squads. As long as Revenant hold on, as long as Revenant stop them, and you still have Galaxy Racer in behind, you still have Vampire alive. Stone trying to find whatever healing they can muster in the farm compound to keep them in this match. Still, though, keep in mind more so the duo of I8 still alive, DK. From 5 kills already in this game, looking like one of the strongest. Hale still alive with, yes, 0 kills. But as long as Hale can keep themselves alive too in this game, they may just overtake FaZe and steal away with his second place.
But it's going to be quite a bit of a challenge still to come on in, as we've got 11 teams remaining, 32 players alive. And of course, as you've pointed out, that zone shifting all the way down on to the south, being quite limiting with the playable area. But now as we jump back onto the bridge here, you can still see the players now from Galaxy Racer also looking to push across the bridge. They are, however, running into quite a bit of a challenge as the players coming in with those late rotations now, of course, getting picked off as the bridge is quite a contested position. But of course now Revenants as well as the team coming in here just up ahead of them, looking to be quite a trying position. But Orange not out of it just yet. They bring up the shots, put in their hood on it towards Top Dog. But now of course they still need to get that rotation up in towards zone. They can't afford to stay out in the blue forever.
And they're running out of supplies. Popcorn, yes, has 5 first aid kits, has the vehicle. Sun only has 1, only 2 bandages. And look how far away that zone is. We'll shift even further away from them. You've got to imagine about a 2,000, 3,000 almost distance from the zone. And there's still teams they have to fight, continuing their way in. Nevertheless, it will be Galaxy Racer still alive. Their best game in today, up against also the duo of I8, holding on to the edge of military base just now. More importantly, Hale also playing for those placement points alongside Alpha or Alter Ego LIMAX, playing for what is position in the center. One of the few compounds left just on the tip top of that hillside of Sosnovka. They tried to fend off against everyone.
Oh, and of course now this is where it gets pretty tricky, as that zone could potentially shift down south once again. We of course see the shots coming in here from the side of Alter Ego as they trying to apply the pressure in all directions, of course getting the knock into known there from the side of course BANGKRIK. An absolute insane barrage of hits now just continuously firing on through. But this is where things are going to be pretty tricky. We do have that blue zone closing on up. We do have Orange still trying to fight their way through that blue zone. And now this is going to be a pretty tough position for these teams to try and squeeze into.
BANGKRIK was still trying to find a way inside in the edge of their coastal line. Still trying to find some form of survival. Hale right beside them trying to do the same. ZEUS trying to do the same. Side of Orange, unfortunately, they will lose Sun. Just not enough healing inside. Pop maybe will make it just 2 remaining first aid kits down to just bandages. And you've got to worry, unfortunately, for Popkov. This will be the end. Orange will be eliminated next in 9th position. Seal, they do make it inside the zone. They more fortunate as a trio on the edge of the Sosnovka northwestern side.
Oh man, this is such a difficult play. But of course, we also still see the players here from Galaxy Racer holding on to this match, not going out just yet. But we do have them positioned up in towards the north. And now they are just patiently waiting to see what that zone rotation will bring. But of course, if we look down over to the side here from BANGKRIK, we can see them also just positioned on the edge of this coastline. They do have a little bit of opposition here. They are not completely in the clear just yet. And it is still going to be quite a bit of a fight for them to try and secure that position.
BANGKRIK down on the south side, I think they have played it slightly better, however, than Hale. They are keeping control on the edge of the top of the cliff, whereas Hale have actually moved slightly further down towards the edge of it. A lot of their players have moved towards the main portion of the sea, instead with those vehicles being run down in. So they've not got as much mobility when it comes to a potential hard shift. ZEUS, who are struggling, they lose 1 player with a self-knock as Godless just can't quite navigate with their vehicle exactly how to get around that cliffside, but they will be helped with the help of the revive of their teammates still to navigate around the cliffside themselves. But it is to where this zone shifts next, DK, where this phase 5 will be, as Inky they will strike for 1 invo just before the end, and I8 they may not live to see that next phase.
It is going to be quite a bit of a challenge. And here we go, the zone shifting even further down on to that southern coastline, ensuring that the team's going to have an absolute challenge up ahead of them. But of course now, as we look onto the side of Steel 9, they are still trying to apply the pressure, coming in from the north and looking to pick up those finishing blows onto the team here from I8. As you've pointed out, only a 2-man team coming into this match.
I8, they've done spectacular work for Refuse. You cannot take away their 4v1 against Infinity. A major upset on Infinity, trying to grab their position inside of top 5 will not be there as a result of IA. Spectacular play, a result of Refuse. But Steel9, they may just take them down. Refuse still takes down another though with them. Senor on the front line will be 6 kills. There goes 5 kills for Refuse. Still 2 more alive though to take. And those grenades just flying in. Those smollies flying in. Refuse won't be long. You gotta imagine.
Oh man, but what a play that was coming in from Refuse. Just denying so many players a continuation in this match. But of course, now beautiful finish coming in there from Steel9 as well. But we still now have 7 teams in the mix. The players here, of course, from Alter Ego, LIMAX, not out of the woods just yet. We do see them positioned up in towards the north, and the shots are starting to find their way on through, as we do have the team still looking to push further and further up in towards the zone. Steel9, of course, now holding on to their very own positional play here, but we still have the shots coming in from Revenant.
Revenant alongside also ZEUS. They take down one of BANGKRIK, open up a position, bring them down to a duo. Kenny still trying to survive in between.
Oh, it is going to be pretty tough. Let's see now, of course. Oh, the shots finding their way on through. Right as we jump off, of course, we see Rampage now being one of the last remaining players here for the side of Revenant. Some beautiful hits finding their way straight through there, of course, into the Austin bot. But now the challenging play is about to come in. That blue zone about to pop up once again. The teams are going to be forced even closer together. 6 teams remain. 17 players still alive. And you can see, of course, we do have quite a few players taking up the edge of the zone. With the blue zone about to pop, this is going to be crucial.
Indeed, and because it is the edge of the zone, some of these players, 6 teams, phase 6 will be the one. You've got to see here, DK, they should decide it all for who realistically comes out on top. Revenant still trying to find the upset. Revenant, keep in mind, they aren't even playing for the prize money. They're playing for the upset. They're trying to upset Steel in this game. They're trying to upset Alter Ego from their chances at that prize money. Hale as well, gifted the zone. Hale, if they cannot take down these remaining players, if Hale cannot get themselves above FaZe when FaZe went out so early in this final game, then they are throwing that second place opportunity away. They've been very quiet, but they still need to grab those kills to be able to overtake FaZe. Keep in mind, it was FaZe who has still today been picking up those points nonetheless with kills as well.
Yeah, it would be quite interesting to see, of course, now how these teams are going to bring in those rotations and whether or not we'll be having those hits just find their way up through, as we can see a beautiful shot coming in from Monkey now as he finds the spray over on towards the side there of the Revenants. But of course, that blue zone is about to close on in and they are running out of time. They are running out of space and hopefully, potentially not running out of meds just yet. But this is now, of course, down to the wires. We can see Rampage being the last remaining survivor for the team of Revenant. Of course, now time is ticking. The numbers are being crunched and we see ZEUS now taking that position all the way down in that far southern edge. But of course, the players here from Alter Ego, LIMAX putting a quick few hits into the side of the Steel9 team.
Steel9 down and out. No opportunity left for them to get their way inside that top 5. BANGKRIK as well, still just trying to survive as a duo, keep their chances at climbing above. Also, Hale alive in 3rd position. It is a battle between these 2 teams, but also ZEUS, Alter Ego can still upset nevertheless.
Of course, now Alter Ego getting down and dirty, trying to survive up in towards the north. The blue zone once again starting to make its way on through. BANGKRIK, of course, now getting caught in a very uncomfortable position in between 2 teams. It is pretty tough odds already stacked against them. As you can see, ZEUS holding a slight bit of a high ground position there. So curious to see exactly what they will bring. With Hale, of course, now positioned over towards the eastern side. It is going to be pretty scary to try and secure that play. But here we go nonetheless. Now ZEUS finding the first shot in towards Anis. Now, of course, it is up to Nerf to try and potentially pull off that res and bring back their fighting chance in the zone.
Oh, You don't imagine it should be the case. There goes ZEUS as well. They will find a second one onto BANGKRIK. BANGKRIK's chances are finished. Only Hale left alive to increase their chance. But even they too struggle. DK down to just a trio as one of them doesn't quite make it inside the zone.
Oh, and Hazelnuts finding a few beautiful sprays off from this northern position. But of course, now that zone shifts up once again, moving in right between all the teams. So they have no other option. They have to push in. They have to get aggressive if they are looking to pick up this chicken dinner. But of course, if we look over to the side here of Hale, they still have 3 players remaining. ZEUS, 3 players remaining. We have the players here from Alter Ego, 3 players remaining. So it is a 3v3v3 fight to the finish.
Still, Alter Ego, they're not inside the zone. No, nobody is inside the zone. DK, when it comes to this next phase, still all of them too scared to make that move inside. Valentine, of course, too much flirting with the zone did cost Hale down to just a trio. Megamind, BA, and also ZZak remaining do have, as we say, also the best opportunity out of all of these players, but yet they try to split, yet they try to crawl their way in. Alter Ego as well, holding on as a trio themselves, opting for that 2-man split towards the northwestern side, all overlooking the side of ZEUS. ZEUS line on fire though, straight onto Alter Ego. If they can just find those shots, potentially take down one as they do move through down the smoke.
This is going to be a neck-and-neck fight, of course. Now, Alter Ego making their push in from the north, looking to push forward and find that position. You can see the smokes have now, of course, being deployed all across the zone. It is going to get absolutely brutal once the teams start stepping up into the aggression here. And, of course, Ronaldo taking a bit of damage there. We also see now Hazelnuts getting knocked right on down. Of course, it is up to our supernatural, Superuna to make a stand here for the players now of Alter Ego. And the numbers are going to start dropping pretty soon. As we see, Alter Ego reduced to 2. It is now Hale and ZEUS still looking strong as everyone is trying to find that spot in this final zone.
Superuna actually gifted some protection by that rock near that airdrop. That's the thing that stops ZEUS from being able to have that line of sight on them, despite the fact they have no smokes as well. The smokes coming away there from Real, so they too have to use that airdrop. The only protection, the smokes, blinding the vision is Hale also move in, but Hale, that smoke also working against them, is it won't have vision on where these players will be inside the final moments of this game, despite it already being difficult enough when they're all inside the grass.
Oh, man, it is a snake off in for that chicken dinner. It is going to be absolutely tough to pull this one off. Of course, now a lot of fishing coming in. All the shots finding its way on through. The opportunistic plays now about to come on in. This third party shots looking to find their way on through. Icy, of course, now looking to send those U-Tools across as well. Megamind on the receiving end there. Of course, now the return fire comes in. Oh, come on, Megamind looking to get this one. Of course, Icy just up ahead. We still have all 3 teams in the mix, in the play, trying to inch their way forward. And of course now Icy just trying to stay alive up ahead, utilizing this tree to the absolute max. Beautiful retaliation though coming in from Icy, picking up the knock on towards Megamind. ZZak now quickly trying to make a bit of a play here, trying to find a bit of a fish, but goes down in turn. It is up to 88 now to find the spray. Of course now we see the shots come in as of course they find their way over on to Alter Ego. It is the 2 remaining teams now. It is ZEUS up against Hale, fighting it for that chicken dinner. It is a 2v2. Oh, wow, one away.
With the plays. Icy with the plays what it is. DK in that final game was the one to clutch him up, and Zanok was the one to prove that they carry ZEUS to that finish line along that final hurdle. 4 kills going over to them. 7 kills in total. We said we questioned ZEUS on their abilities, but still they said that they will prevail. ZEUS they take the final chicken dinner of the game, it's not good enough to put them inside that top 5, but by golly, is it best to get that pride back on board with that win. Hale, they do take second place alongside 3 kills, so is it enough? We will have to see later on the socials to overtake FaZe when it comes to them basically higher in that leaderboard coming into that final game, as well as also the side of Alter Ego. They too going in for that pride when it comes to that final game. Yes, they too don't earn the points, but they still, despite that, get themselves on that leaderboard.
Absolutely phenomenal way to wrap it up. It has been a hairy fight all the way down into this final zone, and of course you got to give it to ZEUS, finishing off on 8 kills in this final zone, just managing to hold themselves together all the way up to the end. Absolutely phenomenal play that we had, of course, coming in there from them. And of course it has been quite a match up across the board throughout our days here. I'm looking to see what the teams will bring, and I believe this was even this was the first chicken dinner for the ZEUS team. So what a way to end it off, coming in with your first chicken dinner through the finals here. But of course, as you've mentioned there, and as we've mentioned earlier, the results will be posted in on towards the Esports Empire social media, so be sure to head on over to check it out once the results are posted. But I gotta give it though to these teams here, Highland. It has been absolutely insane play we've had across the board.
Indeed, it's been absolutely phenomenal stuff from some of these teams. Surprises, I think, from a lot of those lower end teams that we thought potentially it could be ZEUS, potentially it could be FaZe Clan to really dominate. But Vampire, they stepped it up so well when it comes to the finals, consistently dominating over the rest. And particularly that first day was where they really shone through with the total, their 3 chicken dinners they've gathered, one every single day. And when also it comes to, I think, actually Esports Empire, who were able to climb so high up from what was a 1-point day in day 1. We said they're down and out, there's nothing left that they can really show coming into day 2. They got 2 chicken dinners. Today they still look like a team that could contest with the best, taking down FaZe Clan in that final game to shut them off from a potential upset against Vampire with a good game. And it has also been, I think, the rise of Seal 9 through this tournament more so as well. We said, and we mentioned them in that earlier game today, but again, just a consistency that we're able to bring. They barely clinched their way through into the finals from that group stage, but they by sure have proved themselves in these final 12 matches.
Yeah, some really impressive stuff. We gotta say, well done. We gotta give a big shout out to all the teams participating. It has been an absolute blast broadcasting these games. Of course, shout out going to the players there from Vampire Esports, Hale Esports, the FaZe Clan, BANGKRIK Esports, Orange Esports, BURIRAM Esports, the DINGOZ, MPX, Seal 9, Esports Empire. We got to give it to the Infinity, DRS Gaming, ZEUS Esports, Alter Ego, LIMAX, Team IA21 Esports, Galaxy Races, Team Max, as well as Revenant Esports. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. But of course, we got to give a big thank you to all the viewers that have tuned in and watched all these games. And of course, absolutely appreciate the support coming in for all the teams, all the love. And it has been an absolute blast. It is going to be a good night, a goodbye coming in from us here. My name is, of course, DK, accompanied by Mr. HighlandWolf. Shout out going to Esports Empire for making this event happen. The Thunder Cup has been an absolute blast. And of course, as we've said before, be sure to check out the Esports Empire social media to see the results, the finishing of this. And of course, if you want to support myself and Mr. HighlandWolf, you can be sure to look us up on the social media as well. Of course, is Mr. HighlandWolf _ on Instagram, and you can look for me, DKZA Gaming, as well. So there we go. Have a fantastic time. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.